My best friend falsely accused a coworker to steal his job opportunity, but karma stole hers when I exposed her lies. Serena, 27, and I, 26, have been best friends for the past 5 years. Since we met in college. When we graduated, we both applied for jobs at the same company in the city. It felt perfect when we were both accepted. Serena and I celebrated with a weekend trip to the coast, making plans about carpooling to work and having lunch together. At the company, there is a guy named Kirk, about our age, who works in our department. Kirk is generally well-liked, hardworking, and tends to be quite reserved. Last year, he helped me solve a serious issue during a presentation. When my computer crashed, a day before a client meeting, Kirk stayed late, without complaining, and saved me from a potential disaster. We weren't close friends, but I respected him professionally. About 3 months ago, Kirk asked Serena out on a date. I wasn't there when it happened, but Serena told me about it that same night, while we were having dinner. She said that he politely approached her in the break room, told her he enjoyed working with her, and asked if she would like to grab a coffee outside of work. Serena turned down his invitation and told him that she wasn't interested in dating coworkers. According to Serena, she was friendly but firm and asked him not to bring it up again. Mr. Kirk apologized for making her feel uncomfortable and left it at that. At least, that's what Serena told me at the time. Fast forward to last month. The company announced an international expansion, opening a new office in Singapore. News spread quickly that they were looking for someone from our department to relocate there. The position came with a major promotion and a significant salary increase. Serena immediately showed interest. She spent the weekend researching Singapore, talked nonstop about the opportunity, and was deeply invested in it. Kirk also applied for the role. 2 weeks later, the announcement was made. Kirk got the position in Singapore. Serena was visibly upset. She skipped the office celebration and called in absent the following day. When she returned, she behaved professionally around Kirk, but stopped joining any conversations. When he was present, I tried to comfort her, reminding her that other opportunities would come, but she remained distant on the topic. Last Monday, Jean from accounting pulled me aside. She asked me if I had heard about Kirk. I asked, about what? Well, she told me that Kirk had been fired from the company, and that his Singapore position was being reconsidered due to a harassment complaint filed against him. Harassment? That made no sense. Kirk had always been respectful and professional, at least from everything I had seen. That same night, Serena asked me to meet her at our favorite bar, all just to tell me that she was the one who had reported Kirk to Human Resources for harassment. I asked her what had happened, worried that maybe Kirk had done something serious that I wasn't aware of. Serena explained that about 3 weeks earlier, she had run into Kirk in the break room. According to her, he told her that he still had feelings for her. Serena clarified that he didn't ask her out again. He just said he still liked her. I pressed for details, asking whether Kirk had acted inappropriately or said anything threatening. She admitted that he hadn't. She simply didn't like Kirk. She hated that he had gotten the position she had wanted in Singapore. When he mentioned he still had feelings for her, she saw an opportunity. Serena told HR that Kirk had been harassing her for months, creating a hostile work environment. She thought that if he lost the Singapore position, she would be next in line. What she hadn't expected was that the company would also suspend him. from his current role. I couldn't believe it. What did she think would happen when she made that report? And the worst part. This was my best friend. The person I trusted more than anyone. Admitting that she had deliberately tried to ruin someone's career out of jealousy. I was scared. I told her that the false accusation was not only going to cost Kirk his job, but also ruin his reputation and his future career opportunities. Serena shrugged and said she thought he would only lose the Singapore opportunity, not his current job as well. She seemed more annoyed by the outcome than remorseful for her actions. When I asked her how she could do something so calculated, she simply replied that the business world was highly competitive and that she had to level the playing field, that he had been chosen because he was a man. And in a way, this was fair. My hands started to shake. I told Serena that I couldn't believe she had done something like this. I informed her that the next day I was going to HR to tell them the truth. Serena's face changed instantly. She told me that I would be ruining her career if I did that. I stood up, told her that she should have thought about the consequences before filing a false report, and I walked out. The next morning I went to work early, planning to speak with human resources. Before I could do so, I ran into another coworker who corrected a few details about Kirk's situation. He hadn't been fired. He had been suspended while an investigation was being conducted. His recommendation for the transfer to Singapore had been withdrawn until the investigation concluded. Either way, time would likely cause Kirk to lose the opportunity. I decided to wait before going directly to human resources. I needed to understand exactly what Serena had told them in the first place. At this point, it was no longer just about doing the right thing. It was about making sure I had all the facts straight before potentially ruining two careers. Kirk's, if I stayed silent, and Serena's, if I spoke up. That night, my phone blew up with messages and calls from Serena's mother, father, and sister. Somehow, Serena had already told them about our confrontation. Their messages called me disloyal, a traitor, and threatened that I would regret turning against Serena. One message from her mother stood out. One message from her mother particularly caught my attention, saying I should remember who helped me get this job in the first place, implying that Serena had pulled strings for me, which was absolutely not true. I didn't respond to any of them because I had more important things to think about. I turned off my phone and spent the night staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what to do. The next morning, I texted Serena, asking if we could meet for lunch. I planned to apologize for my reaction. Not sincerely. Just to get more information and find out exactly what she told Human Resources. She agreed immediately, sounding relieved. The truth is, I don't want to go to HR without having evidence. Kirk doesn't deserve to have his career ruined over a false accusation. I know that reporting Serena will mean ending our friendship and possibly ending her career as well. But I am scared of what she might be willing to do to get ahead. If one day I happen to be standing in front of something she wants, I don't know what she might do. I can no longer look at Serena the same way. After finding out what she is capable of, I will let you all know how everything goes. And I hope to gain more clarity. I am even considering the possibility that she might realize what she did and take the steps to fix it herself. But if that does not happen, I know what I will do. Update 1. It has been 2 weeks since my original post. And besides my lunch with Serena, I have also had other important meetings. The lunch with Serena went well. I was able to get a recorded confession. I did not know if that would be admissible to HR. But I had nothing to lose by trying. If not, it would simply be my word against hers. I also decided that I needed to hear Kirk's side of the story before making any decisions. I messaged him, asking if we could talk about something important. Surprisingly, he agreed almost immediately. Later I will explain why he did. Given that I was Serena's friend, and he had every reason not to want to speak with me. We met somewhere far from the office, where we would not run into coworkers. Kirk looked terrible. Really, truly awful. It was what you would expect from someone going through what Kirk was going through. When I asked how he was feeling, he just shook his head. I started by telling him that I knew Serena had filed a complaint against him. I explained that I wanted to understand what had happened. Truly. And that I wanted to hear his version of events. What Kirk told me changed everything. According to him, the conversation in the break room 3 weeks ago did not happen the way Serena had described it to me. Serena was the one who approached him, not the other way around. She specifically asked him if he still had feelings for her. When he hesitantly admitted that he did, she quickly changed the subject and walked away. He found it odd, but did not think much of it at the time. Then came what Serena actually reported to Human Resources. She did not just say that he expressed unwanted feelings. She accused him of repeatedly pressuring her to sleep with him, and of threatening to make her job a living hell if she refused. Kirk showed me the formal complaint that HR had provided to him during his investigation meeting. The evidence Serena submitted was a screenshot of a text message from 3 months ago, when Kirk initially asked her out, completely taken out of context and presented as if it had just happened recently. They had messaged each other after he asked her out at work. According to Kirk, she had texted him and brought the topic back up. The message simply said, "We could try just a coffee." Kirk no longer has the rest of the conversation, because after she rejected him again, despite being the one who hinted there might be a possibility, he deleted everything and moved on with his life. Then Kirk explained why he agreed to meet with me. He said that Serena had been speaking negatively about me around the office for months. He hesitated to tell me this, but eventually he shared that Serena had been telling coworkers that I was taking advantage of her and taking credit for her ideas. That explained why some members of the team had been acting strangely distant toward me lately. The final bombshell came when we talked about the Singapore position. In fact, Serena had only found out about the job because Kirk mentioned it to her during a project meeting. I told him that I was going to speak up for him to Human Resources, and that I would do everything I could to help him. I even spoke with some of our coworkers to verify what he had said about Serena badmouthing me, and they confirmed it. The next morning, I requested a meeting with Human Resources. I knew I had to do the right thing. I provided all the evidence I had gathered. The HR director was visibly disturbed by what I shared. She said she would need to consult with a lawyer to determine whether the recording could be used as evidence. But she thanked me for everything I had brought forward and assured me they would conduct a thorough investigation. I asked what the consequences would be for Serena if it was proven that she had lied. She told me that the company's policy was termination. I did not see Serena for the rest of the week. I do not think she wanted to see me either. I also heard through office gossip That she had been called into multiple meetings with HR and upper management. Kirk remains suspended, but rumors have started spreading that his case is being re-evaluated. Yesterday, Serena showed up at my apartment to demand why I went to Human Resources. When I explained that I could not stand by while she ruined someone's career with lies, she exploded. She called me every name in the book, accused me of betraying her as a friend after everything we had been through, and said she would make sure everyone knew what a terrible friend I was. I told her she could try a different threat, because that one, she was already using it. She looked at me with resentment, but she knew I was right. When I told her to leave, she turned around and said something that partly explains why I initially wanted to do the right thing. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Oh, but I do. I know exactly what she is capable of. And that is precisely why I reported her. And from what I have recently learned about Kirk, it probably would not have taken long before I ended up on her list too. I documented Serena's threat and reported it to Human Resources as well. I am already bracing myself for a war of complaints with Serena, because I suspect that her threat was pointing in that direction. I feel like I am mourning the death of someone I once loved. The Serena I thought I knew never really existed. The person who stood in my apartment threatening me was a stranger wearing my best friend's face. And Kirk messaged me yesterday to thank me for coming forward. He said that Human Resources had informed him that new information had come to light in his case. He is still suspended for now, but there is hope that the Singapore position is still a possibility. Serena's family has escalated their harassment. Her father called my parents, making up a story about how I had betrayed Serena out of jealousy, claiming I wanted the Singapore position for myself. The truth is, I have never been interested in it. And I never applied. I am happy in my current role. I am not an ambitious person. And I do not want to earn significantly more money. I like my life the way it is. Fortunately, my parents know me well enough not to believe him. I have blocked all of their phone numbers and social media accounts. Update 2. It has been a month since my last update, and everything work-related has come to a conclusion, although the personal consequences continue. The Human Resources investigation was completed 2 weeks ago. Kirk was fully cleared of the harassment allegations and received his recommendation for the Singapore position. He will start there next month. However, he technically remains suspended from our current office for the remainder of his notice period, as company policy discourages asking out coworkers. But since he was leaving anyway, it did not significantly impact him. As for Serena, she was suspended for making false accusations and for her threatening behavior toward me afterward. HR scheduled a meeting with me to inform me of their decision and to ask if I felt safe. When I returned to work, I was assured that the company was taking the situation seriously. They offered to adjust my schedule if needed, to avoid any potential confrontations. I have kept a low profile at work, focusing on my projects and trying to maintain a professional attitude, despite the whispers and the sideways glances from some coworkers. Most people seem to have grasped the basics of what happened, and opinions appear to be divided. Some understand why I spoke up while others believe that I should have protected my friend, no matter what she did. Office politics are complicated. The most unexpected development happened last week. I received an email from our employer From Serena's previous employer. Responding to my inquiry about her work history there. After learning about Serena's betrayal, I had started to question other parts of her past. What I discovered was disturbing. Serena had told me she left her previous job due to a company-wide downsizing, when the business had to cut staff. According to her former supervisor, Serena had actually been asked to resign after similar accusations surfaced. Specifically, that she had sabotaged a coworker's project. The supervisor said they could not share specific details due to confidentiality policies, but he strongly implied that this was not the first time Serena had undermined others for her own benefit. The final piece fell into place when Kirk forwarded me an email he had received from a colleague at another company. This person had worked with Serena during a short contract between university and her previous job, a position Serena had never mentioned to me. According to the email, Serena had been asked not to return after the contract ended due to concerns about her interpersonal behavior. Last weekend, I ran into Serena at a store. We made brief eye contact before she turned around and walked in the opposite direction. Kirk and I have developed a cautious friendship. Every now and then, we meet for coffee and talk about work and his upcoming move to Singapore. He has been surprisingly understanding about the whole situation, never once blaming me for not speaking up earlier. He told me that it takes courage to do the right thing in the end, especially when it comes at a personal cost. He also said he was grateful I gathered that evidence, because even though we do not know if it was officially used or not, it likely did much more than simply going in and repeating what Serena told me at the bar. Serena's family eventually, they stopped contacting me after my lawyer sent them a cease and desist letter. The harassment had escalated to the point where legal intervention was necessary, because they were looking for any way to keep pursuing me. My lawyer said this might not be over yet, but advised me to continue keeping a record with proof in case it escalates further. Legally speaking. Update 3. It has been 3 months since my last update, and 6 months since this entire situation began. Kirk wanted to offer a final update on how things have turned out. He started his new position in Singapore last month. Before he left, we had dinner together with a few other coworkers. He looked happier than he had in a long time, excited for the new beginning. He thanked me again for speaking up and said the experience taught him to be more cautious with workplace relationships, but also not to become cynical about people in general. To anyone who said that I did what I did to Serena because I liked Kirk or wanted her job, it is the complete opposite. My personal and professional life has not changed during this time. I have not started dating Kirk, and at most, we are just friends. We talk occasionally, mainly due to the time difference, but nothing more than that. No one has asked anyone out, and it has stayed that way. As for my job, as I said, I am still in the same position, earning the same salary, and nothing has changed. There are always people who need to find something to attack others with. At least let it not be made-up things. And for those who say that what Serena did is acceptable just because Kirk is a man and has it easier, I am not going to deny that those things can happen in the world. But that was not the case with Kirk. He truly proved he was qualified for the position. And honestly, he deserved it. He was competent, respectful, and genuinely invested in his work. He earned that role. And no one should have to defend themselves against lies just for doing their job well. What happened with Serena was heartbreaking. Not just because I lost a friend, but because I realized how little I truly knew her. It still hurts. Some days I miss her. Or rather, the person I thought she was. But that person never existed. If there's anything I've learned from this, it's that doing the right thing doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it costs you. But it's still worth doing. Because silence helps no one. And complicity can destroy lives. Although from time to time, I still hear whispers when certain topics come up in meetings. I have been seeing a career counselor who is helping me evaluate whether I want to stay at this company long term or explore opportunities elsewhere. Today I have been thinking about something remote. Maybe traveling or moving to a different city. I know my current company does not offer that. But I could look for one that does. Money, beyond what I need to live comfortably, is not that important to me. So it is an area I am willing to compromise on. If other benefits are offered, like flexible hours, I do not know. Maybe moving closer to my parents. Or to some old childhood friends. Last week, I ran into one of Serena's cousins at a coffee shop. Unlike the rest of her family, this cousin was not part of the witch hunt against me. She revealed to me that Serena has a history of similar incidents, dating back to high school. That none of this seemed surprising to her. And that Serena has always been extremely competitive. So much so that it often led her to manipulate friends against each other. And to lash out when she did not get what she wanted. The family has enabled this behavior for years, always rushing to defend Serena, no matter what she had done. Some people do not change because they have never had to face the consequences of their actions. And even if they eventually do, it might be too late for any kind of introspective journey that makes them reevaluate things. Kirk sends me emails occasionally with updates about his new life in Singapore. Recently, he mentioned that he had been promoted to team lead just 2 months after starting the position. He even included a photo of the view from his new apartment, the city skyline at sunset. It was nice to see that things are going well for him after everything that happened. The only negative thing Kirk mentioned was having a bit of trouble adapting to the culture. But he said he is making an effort because he enjoys his work and sees it as an opportunity. Kirk is much more career-oriented than I am. So I am genuinely happy that he is enjoying it in his own way. My version of that would be getting to know the culture and trying every new dish I could find. But it is good that people are different. As long as you're not Serena level different. Update 4. No. I am not bringing you some major drama about Serena. Although something did happen. But I do believe there have been major changes in my life. To start with, I changed jobs a year ago. It took me a while to find one. Because it has been almost 2 years since my last update. But I wanted to find the right fit. I was offered a position at a company with the possibility of remote work. And I accepted. I moved back to my parents' city, where I still have friends. It is a city I love because it is coastal. And I can enjoy the beach, even when it is cold. Not to go swimming, but just to walk on the sand, like I used to do when I was a kid. I have also started seeing someone. And that is all I am going to say about that. There is not much work in my field here. But since I can work remotely, with only 1 or 2 trips to the office per month, it is more than I could ask for. Also, the cost of living is lower here, which is perfect. because I accepted a pay cut compared to my previous job. But it allows me to live comfortably here. I would even say I work less now. Maybe around 6 hours a day. I am more productive. Thanks to the increase in quality of life, I suppose. I have not spoken much with Kirk during this time. But the last I heard is that he returned to the country for another, better role, and continues to move forward in his career. I am happy for him, because that is exactly what he always wanted. Now, my update about Serena is brief, since I have not stayed in touch with many people who know about her. The last thing I heard is that she had an issue at her company, the same one she had been working at recently. Or at least I think it was the same one. And that she was fired. She has now also moved back in with her parents and is working in the family business. And that is all. I suppose it must be difficult to get fired from so many companies in your field, that finding something else becomes nearly impossible. I truly hope everyone is doing as well as I am, enjoying life.